Hi, welcome back to another Insider. And this week we talk about deadlines and the drama that it is with deadlines and misconceptions that I've seen among translators, agencies, everything. And sometimes I think quite frankly, in my opinion, sometimes it's more of a misconception rather than anything else. But it is important that we know how to deal with deadlines and we know how to set up our own deadlines when we are dealing with direct clients, even with agencies. So we make sure that we work and we do the best we can and we produce our best, you know, the final product, it is actually the best we can provide. And also the client is going to have something that it has quality and does not need much handling at all. It is the final product. I believe that's the goal for any translator. Surely is my goal since I started my business. And I think it is important that clients and translators have an understanding of this, so we can all work together without conflicts and without major issues. So let's talk about deadline. So let's talk about deadlines, how to set deadlines, how to deal with deadlines. I think this is an issue that it's constantly coming up on several social media posts, even networking events for translators. I've heard it even on the summit, the financial success for translators summit. It's been, it's something that is always been spoken about, and sometimes I think it's a quite divisive issue. So how should we set our deadlines? How should we do it? And what things should be considered as translators to set a proper deadline and to make sure that we provide the best service? Because we should always bear in mind that whatever we do, it should always be with our best interest in mind as a business, of course, but with our clients' best interest in mind. Because if we actually provide the best service to our clients and our clients are happy with what we do, chances are they are going to come back and they hire us again, or they recommend us to someone else. And as I said many times, the best marketing campaign that you can have for your business is a satisfied customer. And if you have a satisfied customer, they will surely talk about you. And if they know someone else that might need your services, they will recommend it. In 10 days of more than 10 days, 10 years of career, more than 10 years of career, this is what has been happening with me. I have many clients that come back to me because they were happy with the services that I provided them in a previous project. But I also have clients that come to me because they were recommended by another client. So this is something that it's very important to understand. But now let's talk about deadlines and what should we consider when we talk about deadlines. For example, the first thing that I would say you should consider is analyzing your document. Ask the client to send you the document, have a good read at the document, check for possible problems, words that you think might need some research, doing all those relevant questions, asking those relevant questions. If, for example, you're dealing with a corporate client or an agency, they may have a glossary, or they may have certain terms that they want used throughout all their documents, and therefore you should be aware of those. Otherwise, you may choose another option for a certain word, and then the company may come back to you and say, oh, well, this I would prefer to use such and such instead. So this is something that you should make sure that you know all this information beforehand. And I also said this many times in videos and also in articles that I've written, that asking questions is something that I consider very important and that you should do, and you should not shy away from asking questions to your clients. It does not mean that you are not capable or that you are insecure or anything like that, like sometimes we think when we start out as translators. I know I did, but in opposite, it just means that you want to provide the best service and you want to know everything about the project and everything about the client, so you can provide them with the best service you can. So analyze the document, read the document, do your word count, be aware of your hourly capacity, so how many words per hour you are able to translate, and then allow some time for you to review the document for any typos, anything like that, and issues that may rise. Sometimes you might be translating a document and some issue may rise, and that if you set up a very tight deadline, or if you're on a very tight deadline, it will be very, very hard for you to deal with that issue and still meet your deadline. The worst thing that can happen to you is failing a deadline. Is really bad for your reputation as a business, and it's obviously bad for your client, it's bad for you, it's bad, period. It's just bad. So if all these things are accommodated before you even start the project, you will definitely run the project smoothly and you will have chances of finalizing it in a much better way, stress-free, etc., because obviously everything is taken care of. So analyze your document, make sure you know everything about the document, everything about the client, what do they need. If there's anything, for example, if you're dealing with corporate clients, if they need any specific words to be translated in a way, if they have a glossary, all of those things, so you know exactly what you're gonna do. So, and then you have to ask plenty of questions so you know what your client needs. Again, I stress this is very important to ask questions. You won't know anything about your project if you don't ask, if you don't know what it is for. If a corporate client asks, you know, something, you need to be able to answer the same way. If a corporate client comes to you and have a certain document to translate, you need to know if there is any regulations within that particular company that determine the way that you are going to perform your job. Because sometimes companies have, and in certain fields, they may have certain glossaries because they want everything uniform, they want everything consistent throughout, and they want certain words to be translated in a way. So that's very important to ask questions, analyze the document, ask questions, make sure you know everything about that project, and then set a realistic deadline. Of course, I'm not saying that to translate, for example, 300 words, you're going to set up a deadline of 5 hours or 6 hours, because obviously that would be totally unrealistic, and I would say well, for me, it would be totally realistic. But set one deadline that you know that you are able to do a proper job, that you have time to review it, and that you will deliver something that you would be proud of. First of all, you need to feel proud of your work and what you have done. We are not machines. We're not here just to convert words and just send them out. No, that's not it. If you are in this business for that reason, then I'm afraid to say you are in the wrong business. If you want to be a good translator, if you want to be a professional translator, you really need to love your profession. You really do this with care, with love. And if you want to succeed in this profession, you really have to do it that way. So you really need to be proud of what you do. Every single document that you send out to your client, you should be proud of that. If you're not, if there's something that you are not proud of, then you're not doing a good job. So this is very important, and this is something that I consider extremely important. So set a deadline that allows you to produce that quality work, that document that you will be proud of. And don't accept a deadline if you cannot fulfill it. This is very important. I see a lot of my colleagues, especially when they are starting their business, they are not very confident with themselves, and they think, and sometimes unfortunately there are agencies that do that, they set unrealistic deadlines and they accept those deadlines because they think, oh well, I'm just starting out, and they are doing this because this must be the norm. It doesn't matter whatever the norm is. If you cannot fulfill a deadline, don't accept the job. Negotiate. Tell them, well, I would be happy to accept this job. I would be happy to do that for you. But if I'm going to produce a quality work, I would need more time. My deadline would be such and such. Negotiate. There's nothing wrong about negotiations. You are running a business. So therefore, running a business is about negotiations and negotiating things. So if your client comes with you with a proposal, you can actually propose and have a counter proposal for them and say, oh, well, this deadline does not work well with me. I would not be able to do this job in such a short deadline, but I would be very happy to do so if we extend the deadline to such and such. This is something that is simple to do, and you will see that you will get results with it. You will get results with it. And obviously, if it's one of those agencies that just gonna do whatever they want, and they just want, you know, the least payment ever, and the shortest deadline ever, because obviously they are there in the exploitation business, not into the translation business, then they will carry on being what they are, and there's nothing we can do about it, unless, except, I would say, well, then I'll decline the job. This is what we should do. And honestly, it may sound a bit controversial. You may be starting out your business and say, well, I cannot afford to decline a job. Yeah, well, yes, you can. Because if you continue accepting, you continue going down that path and you continue on this spiral of basically exploitation. So set reasonable deadlines. Be proud of what you produce. Produce work that you are proud of, that are ethical, that are correct, accurate, culturally fluent. That is the main goals in your job. And if you do this, you will see the results will start coming up. And that's all for today. I hope you liked this insider, and I hope you really like these ideas and what I said about deadlines, and I hope it really helped you set up your deadlines and having an understanding how we can actually set proper deadlines without dramas, without confrontation or anything like that, because at the end of the day, we are all doing this for the same goal. The client wants the projects done in a timely fashion as soon as possible, and obviously you also want the project done as soon as possible because you want to move on and perhaps working in another project. So this is a common goal. The thing is, sometimes it is put out as some sort of fight between translators and clients, which I I honestly don't think it is like that at all. I've been in this business, as I said, for more than 10 years. I've never had a fight over deadlines with my clients. I receive the projects, I set my own deadlines, and they accept it and they're happy with it. I've worked with a few agencies as well, uh, and um, and also I have set deadlines. If the deadline is too short or if it's out of my business hours or something like that, I decline, and it's all okay. And they will send me another email if they have another project. So it does not mean that you're going to lose that client automatically. It just means that you may not be available, and that's how it is. And in regards to deadlines, I'm very, very strict with deadlines, because, as I said, it is very important, and it can damage your business. It can really damage your reputation and your business. So it's much better to even decline a job because they refuse to extend the deadline and make it to a reasonable deadline than accept an unrealistic deadline and either one, do a bad job, or two, fail that deadline. So think about it. Make a business decision and what is best to your business. The volume that unrealistic deadlines give you, but at the cost of the reputation of your business, or something that is sustainable, something that is attainable and acceptable and correct and ethical. So think about it. I think definitely it would be better for everyone if these simple things are thought of and actually pondered and considered. So, but obviously, if you have any ideas, just please leave me a comment below and leave me your opinions. Have you ever had a very, very bad dispute over a deadline? Do you set your own deadlines, or do you just accept whatever deadlines come your way? And let me know. Let me know in the comment below, and we can actually have a discussion about this, because I think it is important, and I think it is important that we as translators start talking about these things, and you know be open about it, so we can actually have solutions and about all these problems that sometimes can be so complicated to solve. And put a like on the video and subscribe the channel for more videos like this. If you like the content, just click on the bell so you can subscribe the channel and get a notification of a new insider every week. Before I go, I would like to thank you all for watching. See you next week. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye.